Morning. It's an amazing Tuesday morning right here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we're reaching you live from our studio in Lagos. My name is Margaret Opera, and today it's taking a new turn because I have another of my co-hosts. Okay, over to you, Chidichi.
Yeah, good morning, Margaret. How was your night?
It was fine. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing fine. I guess today is going to be a splendid one.
Yeah, splendid one. Of course, you have the different segments to bring. I think you just tell them what we have for them.
Okay, so we would be having the newspaper review. Would be having, of course, news updates, and that would be the topic of discussion. Also, there would be sports with me later on the show, and of course, there are still social media buzz to fall back to, and of course, we would definitely be ending the show with a wonderful, wonderful quotes.
All right, news update. Up next, Judechi, you're reading the first one.
Okay, now moving on to the news updates. We start off with the one that is happening in politics. Talk about Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who has urged Nigerian youths to become more active in politics and constructive engagement on national issues while driving conversations that will enhance national unity. The vice president said that by such engagement, Nigerian youths will play more critical roles in shaping the country's political and economic future. The vice president made these remarks as a guest speaker at the maiden Progressive Youth Conference organized by APC Youth Wing on Monday in Abuja. He said that more political participation by majority of Nigeria's youths will, more importantly, help them to contribute to making meaningful changes.
And now the Inspector General of Police, IG Alkali Osman Baba, was in Jos, the Plateau State capital, where he commissioned 50 patrol vans and 200 motorcycles donated to the force by Plateau State government. While appreciating the Plateau State government for the gesture, the commissioner noted the state is faced with a lot of security challenges and a lot must be done to address them. Chairman of the State's Traditional Council and the Bongwom Jos, that Jacob Buba, commended the role of the various security agencies in the state to bring peace and made a case for the recruitment of more men into the police force.
Now moving on, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has said that it has activated a multi-sectoral national cholera emergency operations center following an increase in cholera across the country. Now, the NCDC Director General, Dr. Chikwe Ihekwazo, said this in a statement on Monday in Abuja. Since the beginning of the 2020 year, 10,833 suspected cholera cases have been reported, with 112 confirmed cases and 289 deaths. In the last 1 month, an increasing number of cholera cases has been reported across the states. The most affected states are Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Kano, Zamfara, Bayelsa, and Kaduna.
Now on the African scene, Google on Monday said it has renewed its commitment to support startups in Africa with a combined $6 million funding to startups, founders, and female entrepreneurs in Africa. Nitin Gadria, Managing Director of Google Sub-Saharan Africa, said on Monday in statement that it was part of the ongoing plans to double down on supporting black startup founders. Gadria said the program, in collaboration with the Tony Elumelu Foundation, will provide seed capitals to 500 women entrepreneurs in Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and selected Francophone countries. He said he would prepare them to navigate their businesses through startup and early growth phase.
And now in sports, FIFA President Gianni Infantino met with Russia's president, who was the president of the 2018 World Cup finals held in the country. In addition, strategies for the development of sports and preparations for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar were discussed during the meeting held at the Kremlin. Russia is a very proud footballing nation and captured the hearts of many more fans in 2018. Infantino was quoted in a statement. He thanks Putin and the Russian Football Federation not only for continuing to endorse football's foundations for successes, but also using the power of football to promote diversity on and around the pitch. He also noted that Russia and the Russian people left an extremely positive impression in everybody's mind after the tournament.
All right, now that wraps it up for the news updates. Up next, we'll be reviewing some top stories in our national daily today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, and meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash.
You go enter market, just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pay you, even your fingernails go dey pay you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for una. Una don hear of Banga fresh palm fruit extract. All you need to do now make you go for the up, open am. Take the amount wey you want, put am for your pot. Which soup you wan make? Shey na egusi, shey na ogbono, shey na vegetable, shey na banga. My sister no waste time again. My brother no waste time again. Just go buy Banga fresh palm fruit extract. They go know say you sabi cook and you be better cook.
Banga, make your food yummy yum.
Distributors needed nationwide. Phone number 081 63 974447. 08035644436 07066638213. Banga fresh palm fruit.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, and meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean.
Welcome back. This is still iBrand Daybreak. Now, moving to the newspaper review segment of the show, we have Laide Akano. He's a public affairs analyst, and he will be joining us for the newspaper segment of this show. Good morning, Mr. Laide. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Didechi. Good morning, Margaret. How do you do?
Fine, thank you. How do you do?
Okay, now let's start off with The Guardian, and the front page of that one has a very huge headline that says Nigeria faces import crisis as reserves hit 13 months low. Now the writer of that one says reserves fall behind South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Libya. The others saying contracts crude swap robbing economy of rising crude gains, and there's low confidence worsening investment outlook. Now another headline here says court orders FG to pay Bielsa 951 million naira derivatives in arrears. And at the bottom part of the paper, we see INEC has mobilized 5,346,000 officials, 2,600 machines for voter registrations. That one continues on page 3 of the paper. We have this other one that says Nigeria's broadband access to get 640 billion naira investment from MTN. And there's another one that's talking about a court awarding 882 billion naira damages against Mobile NNPC over oil spillage neglect. On page 7 of the paper, we have a headline that reads Southeast governors goofed in statement on Igbo secession, says Ohaneze youths. Margaret?
Well, now moving to the Vanguard paper, top story says nothing to restructure. Angry Sans elders battle Buhari. I'll just read some of the writers. Says without restructuring, Nigeria will disintegrate. Coming from Edwin Clark. Apologize to Nigerians. This own statement on restructuring. Okon tells Buhari, I wish Buhari hadn't said that. Coming from Osigwe. He should remember 2015 campaign promises. Daramola said that, and confederation, not true federalism. How to save Nigeria? Others writers there. And now 774,000 jobs. Federal government goes after the 14 banks. Now there's a picture on the front page of the Vanguard that says cattle invasion. They shows cattle in front of entrance to Ugeli North Local Government Secretariat, Ugeli in Delta State yesterday morning. Moving on, APC to give 10,000 youth tickets to run. NBC amendment bill, no plans to gag media, says the Senate. Opposition spinning rhetoric to rubbish our security architecture, coming from Makinde. Custom threatens to impound for unverified private jets from July 6. And now to the top part, it says Buhari vows to punish terrorists, secessionists, and Buhari's appointment. Northern elders disagree with PDP, Afenifere, Ohanese, Pandef, Khan, and MBF. And lastly, despite declining inflation, beans Gary show sharp rises in price, coming from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics.
Okay, now moving on to the Daily Sun, we have the major headline talking about Buhari, Afenifere, Ohanese clash over appointments. The writer going with that one says, my actions, policies fair, inclusive, says the president, while groups and MBF are saying it's not true. Now moving on, we have this one that talks about the Senate opposing plans to gag the media. That one, you can find more of that one on page 8. And there's another about INEC targeting 100 million Nigerians voters for the 2023 polls. There's another that talks about pandemonium as revolution. Now protesters block Abuja Airport Road. And jam. This one about jam on page 3. The headline here says candidates in delisted CBT centers to get new exam dates. At the bottom part of the paper, we get to see the Pope to work with Nigeria to end insecurity. And at the bottom part of the paper also, Ijo are telling Buhari, give us competent, experienced firm NDDC boss. At the top of the paper, there's the one about nobody pushing Igbo out of Nigeria. That's coming from Ohaneze, Alaribe, and Mohalu.
Moving on to the Punch paper, from the top to the bottom, the top says, court orders federal government to pay Bielsa $951 million over the revision fund. Media bill, Buhari reintroducing Decree 4 under different guise, says Decree 4 rather, under different guise, says stakeholders. Federal government calls Emirates bluff, airline bans Nigerian travelers again. Customs prepared to seize private jets over document verification. And now the top story says, Insecurity grounds CBN borrowers. Farmers say loan repayment difficult. The writer saying, I was kidnapped for a month, my crop destroyed, I don't know how to pay CBN loan, coming from a farmer. We can't support farmers with uninsured ABP loans, sent Federal Ministry of Agriculture rather. Bellow meet abducted students' parents, unveils anti-banditry plan. Like that, we have a lot of stories, but I'll just move quickly into the top story in the Punch. I understand you are, I'd like to call you an agriculturist, if I'm correct, yeah, and you have a lot of knowledge on agriculture. Now, the story about insecurity ground CBN borrowers, farmers say loan repayment difficult. What's happening in Benue State as the food basket of the nation? You see the farmers are even scared to go to farm, and a particular farmer is saying he was kidnapped for a month and crop destroyed and don't know how to pay the bank loans.
Yeah, it's obvious because when you, even in your own house, if you are threatened by maybe armed robbery, maybe in your neighborhood, armed robbers come too often, you could be forced to, vacate the house. So the problem here is the fault is with the government. The fault lies with the government. And now the buck stops at the table of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, because when he swore to the oath of office, one of the things that are, one of his mandates is that he would secure the life and property of every Nigerian. You got my point. So whether you're a farmer, you're a banker, or whatever, and he controls all the security apparatus, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the DSS, the police. So now, CBN is an agency, an organ of the federal government. There was this anchor borrower loan program which loaned money to the farmers. Now, if as a farmer you have planted, but you are threatened, for safety of life first, you will vacate the village, the farm. Everybody knows what happens in the north, in Benue, in Zamfara, all those states. So there's no security in those areas. And some of these crops are perishable. Like the farmer said, he was kidnapped for a month. Even part of the money, maybe he spent part of the money paying ransom. It's obvious that people are kidnapped. So now in this case, maybe CBN has to verify and see which cases are genuine and write off them as bad debt, or maybe find a way, because even if I was in the shoe of that farmer, I won't say because I've borrowed money, I will risk my life. I won't risk my life. That's a fact. Because it's only when I live that I can farm. And it's only when I farm and I harvest that I can get to repay your loan. So in this area, government has to. It's just like when you take insurance, the insurance company will still expect you to provide some measures like burglary proofs, like fire gadgets in case of fire. So after you have provided everything and there's still a disaster or an accident, the insurance company will say, okay, now you have done your part. So now let's play our part. You can't say you insure your store now and you leave your door open. And when overnight they burgle your shop and you say you have a claim, it could be like a connivance even on your part because you left your door open. So in this case, government has lent money to farmers to farm. Now, these people will go to their farm to farm, and farming takes time, Then apart from farming, you have to harvest. So when in the course of farming, or rather when you're about harvesting, some bandits come, or maybe Boko Haram or anybody comes. As a farmer, I'm not supposed to provide security for myself. It's the duty of the government. So in this case, government has to just look at it one way or the other, So if farmers can't repay and they verify and they see that this as a genuine case, I think maybe they just have to write it as a bad debt. Because I said verify because some people could maybe have squandered the money and now just want to use security as an excuse. But upon verification, you will know who is telling the truth and who is lying about it.
All right then. Thank you, Laidi.
Thank you very much.
We'll just go straight into the topic of discussion right away. Now, freedom of speech is an inalienable right of the people, as captured in the Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution. Following the current attempt to amend the MBC Act and the MPC Act, the Senate, through its spokesperson, Dr. Ajibola Bashiru, has said it was not possible for the 9th National Assembly to stifle the media in Nigeria with its current amendment to the Act, which established the National Broadcasting Commission and the Nigerian Press Council. Bashiru said the amendments to the Act and other relevant laws should not be misinterpreted as an attempt to gag the freedom of speech and free press in the country. Now, discussing this with us, we still have Laide Akanwo, public affairs analyst. Now, Laide, with the commentary I read, the National Assembly is saying it's not in a bid to stifle the media, but that's just, I think that's words of mouth, because with the Act, it's very obvious. Like with the recent acts and days, it's been very obvious. So what do you think with their recent statement?
Well, let me first of all compare. We practice a presidential system of government, taken after the US, and everybody looks at the US as the bastion of democracy. So let me cite an example of the US. As of March this year, it marked the fourth time for Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook to appear before the Congress. And of recent, what the Congress asked him to come and talk about is how Facebook as a platform has been used to misinform American people. You know, and nobody in America said they wanted to gag Facebook. Because when you say freedom, you know, I have freedom and I have everything. Likewise, every other person. But my own freedom stops where your own begins. I won't say because I have freedom to do anything and I just come to say anything against you that is not right. Freedom of speech, though, but then I cannot say Margaret is a thief. Okay, if I now want to hide under freedom of speech, but then I've lied against you because I'm not a thief. So when you say governments want to gag, I want us to look at it very well. We have to look at it from different angles. Now, like I was saying, Mark Zuckerberg appeared this March, I think on the 21st, for the fourth time within 2018 and this 2021 for the fourth time. So same as Jack Dorsey of Twitter appearing for the third time in his own case. Same as Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, appearing for the third time in his own case too. So these are the US is the excuse me, US is the home of these three platforms. But then when you say freedom of speech, there has to be a sense of responsibility as well. That's why I've given you the analogy that I can't say because I have freedom of speech, I now just go online. Would you like it if I just go online and say because Jidechi is handsome, then it should be wayward? Or because Jidechi is a Nigerian, then it should be a fraudster?
So are you saying this move by the federal government to change, to bring up a new NBC Act is actually a good one that they are making?
Well, what I'm saying in essence is that when you say freedom of speech, freedom has to have sense of responsibility to it. So it depends on the clauses, the provisions they want to make to the amendment. So if we say that it's something to just gag the people from not talking, then we'll say it's bad. But if it's maybe something to say, please, even when you are saying freedom of speech, let's be more responsible with how you go about it, then it's a good one. Now, I think part of the amendment is that they want all these platforms registered in Nigeria, which I think is good enough. This is my reason. They do businesses in Nigeria. Do they pay tax to Nigeria? You got my point. They do businesses in Nigeria. Do they have any CSR they are doing to Nigeria? Every day you go online, you see Nigerian adverts on Google, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, everything. They make money from Nigeria. So they should have some level of contribution they are making to us. Anything they do to us is not, they are not doing us a favor, for instance. They must have a presence. Because if, for instance, what we are saying is, as a country, we have our own sensibilities too. We don't want certain content. As a sovereign nation, we have such rights, for instance. Now, if you go on Instagram at times, you'll be nauseated. You get my point. Because it's so unfortunate that today, more especially what I want to call the speak up disorder generation, social media determines their value for them. You get my point. Now, there was a day I was reading something online. somebody was defining nudity. I mean, by the time you say a woman or a man is nude, everybody knows what it means. But somebody is not trying to define nudity, and he was referring to Instagram that it allows for you showing any part of your body, even your bosoms, in so much as you don't show the nipple. I was like, what? So, and for a woman, you can show your entire back, in so much as you cover your, private part at the front. I mean, that is the moral value social media has defined for the generation that we call maybe the new media generation, and they go by it. Now, if as a country we say, okay, we don't want so content, we don't want you to give your platform to maybe a Boko Haram, or Nigeria as a country has that right, but we cannot, if we don't have enabling laws, ask them. If, for instance, every time you see, before we heard that Shekau was killed, you see Shekau on Facebook posting. As a country, we can say, look, this man is posting a lot of nonsense, as a country. So anything that has to come from maybe Boko Haram or whatever, anything that will, because many countries have such laws, anything that promotes so sentiment, so biases, we don't want it. And these platforms respect those countries for it. So what's different with Nigeria?
I mean, of course, I agree with this statement you just made, that we can meet the country can meet the owners of this platform to flag some content that are harmful. But the president, with the saga with the Twitter thing, the president made a statement that was inciting violence in the minds of people, and that same thing was taken down and Twitter was banned. So if one thing, if we are going to be right, we should be right all round. If we're going to be wrong, we should be wrong all round. We cannot be biased right and wrong this time around. So in that case, what would you say about that? Because that statement was flagged down. If we have to tell, just like a suggestion, tell the owners of this to flag this, then that means the president shouldn't have picked offense when his statement was flagged.
Well, the person of the president made a statement, they flagged it, they removed his speech. As a platform, Twitter has every right and power because they have their own rules of engagement as a platform. They are right. But Nigerian government, now, that is beyond the president now, because the president is only the face of the government. Government has many, people, many organs put together as government. Now, why I say that is, even though the president is the commander-in-chief of everything, but then we have the IG of police. So anything that affects the police, before we expect the president to even come and talk about it, it's the IG we expect first of all. If anything affects the army, it's the army chief who I expect to talk about it first of all. So now, when they took off the tweet of the president, that is as a person, as Muhammadu Buhari, as president of Nigeria, Twitter as a platform has every right, because it's in their policy, it's in their rule of engagement as a user. Whether you read it or not, it's in their rule of engagement. So, but at the same time, the government now constituting the Ministry of Information and other relevant organs, agencies, looked at Twitter as a whole. Okay, how well have you served the interest of Nigeria? Because there are many things we too have talked to you about that you should take off, you should flag that you did not. There was a back and forth. So it's not just because some of the time when things happen, it can only be coincidental. It's just like when you have a heart attack. There would have been many things underlining that incident. But it's on the day of the heart attack we'll start knowing, okay, this person has been diabetic. The person himself might know or not know or whatever. So there has been back and forth between the government and Twitter, because Twitter did not deny it when government said, but we have asked you to take down certain tweets of certain figures. Nnamdi Kanu, for instance. Because all the time Nigerians were regaled with the narrative that one Jubril from Sudan is now in Aso Rock. It didn't go on newspaper pages. It didn't go on radio. It didn't go on TV. It went on social media to start telling us all this narrative that one Jubril. And it went on to the point that some people believed in. You know, when even a state governor, as at that time, Fayoshe, went to say he had enough evidence to say President Muhammadu Buhari was late when he was in the hospital. It was the social media, some people used the Photoshop and everything. At the end of the day, Fayoshe goofed because he saw 11 images, you know, well photoshopped, and he believed it. Now, don't let us forget that things have happened, because as individuals, maybe we react only when something affects what we hold on to. If it doesn't, we will not bother. But remember that there are some people, there are some offices, there are some executives whose job is, if, for instance, you go to certain offices today, it doesn't matter whether some things have happened in that office, even when you were in school. You have to go back and understand everything that has happened to that office, so that if tomorrow anything could happen again, you can make reference and you can take a decision, and nobody will tell you, but then when it happened, you were not in office. It doesn't matter whether you were in office at that time or not, but it has happened, and this office has taken a record of it. So all that time, Khan was using these platforms to tell us Muhammadu Buhari was late. It was one Jubril from Sudan. It was one Shehu from Gambia. These platforms, you know, let him.
Quick one. You know, you mentioned something. It's just like, based on what you said Twitter took down the post of the president as a person, but the Twitter handle was the official handle for the presidency. Jide Sanwo-Olu has a personal Twitter account, an Instagram account, and the Lagos state government has their Twitter account. So if the state, Donald Trump has his personal Twitter account, and the US presidency has their account. So if that tweet came from President Muhammadu Buhari as a person, but it came from the presidency, and whatever comes from the presidency is representing Nigeria. Am I correct, sir?
Well, you are right, but the tweet, that particular tweet, I think is at M. Buhari, because Buhari has a Twitter handle of his own at M. Buhari, or maybe at Muhammad Buhari. I think I used to follow it when it was on Twitter.
That's so being run by the aides of the president.
Well, it doesn't matter, but it is, as Buhari come to tell us, this at M. Buhari is not run by him as a person, you know. So I wouldn't know who runs it, but it's in his name. So if it's in his name, like you said, President Donald Trump had his own Twitter handle.
I never used the US presidency Twitter handle to tweet all of those things. It was his personal handle.
Yes. Buhari too has his own personal handle at M. Buhari. You get my point. I remember very well. I used to follow it before the ban. So, and that particular tweet, maybe it was retweeted by the presidency, because you can tweet and I can retweet it. I can quote you. But I think I read it at M. Buhari, you know, if I remember very well. You know, I don't want to contest with what you're saying. You could have read it maybe at the presidency or whatever the handle is. Even if you might have read it on the handle of the federal government of Nigeria. But like I said, tweets can be retweeted, it can be quoted. You get my point? You can make reference to it. If, for instance, there are many tweets that you don't even get to know the source unless you trace the thread. So if you don't have that time, if it is the 1,000th person that you got it from, you can quote it and make reference to it. So I got that particular tweet at M. Buhari. And like I have said, Twitter as a platform has right to do what they did. But then Nigeria as a sovereign nation too has a right to say, okay, Twitter, Facebook, Google, anything that you do that jeopardizes or that undermines interests of this country, we won't take it.
Like when you talk about the right to do what they have to do, the presidency took this move, which many are calling emotional, considering the fact you earlier mentioned how Twitter has never actually had an impact in the Nigerian circles. And I'm looking at the angle of the economic angle, angle of this ban on the economy. We see how Twitter have been able to create opportunities for Nigerians. With what many are saying about this ban, do you think the move from the presidency was emotional because Twitter banned a tweet of the president, or it was actually a logical move?
Well, it could be a combination of both. It could be either of the two. You know, depending upon who is looking at it. You get my point? Because if this issue is like taking 6 blind men to identify an elephant. One holds the trunk and he says the elephant is like a trumpet. One holds the tail. He says the elephant is like a rope. One touches the body of the elephant. He says the elephant is like a wall. So it depends on the perspective. Now, if, for instance, we want to say it's logical, then the question will arise that why at the point they took down the tweet of the president? That is, if we want to say it's logical. Now, if we want to say it's emotional, then we will say, okay, why is Twitter too not alive or responsible? To look at NSAS crisis, for instance, Twitter went ahead to do an emoji for NSAS protests. You come a point. What was the interest? What was the stake of Twitter in the protest? None. But they went officially on their own to do an emoji for it in Nigerian flag. If it is something that just a user has created, well, Twitter. Let me tell you something. If, for instance, I go on the page of a newspaper now, I want to say anything about you, I have to indemnify that newspaper, because if you sue the paper, you have a right. You may even leave me aside because, okay, this poor man cannot pay what I want to ask for as damages. You can sue the newspaper for allowing their platform, for allowing their platform to be used by me to embarrass you, or rather to defame you or assassinate your character. Because if I come with some claims, I have to come with documentary evidence to them. That's part is in Nigerian law. So the newspaper cannot say, we didn't know that it was lying. Did you verify? The only defense they can have is if I give them indemnity, that whatever problem arises, you are indemnified. Come and refer them to me, and then with the indemnity, now everything will now fall back on me. If they are not indemnified, many newspapers have had to publish public apology. They have had to pay damages. So if you say it's illogical, like I've told you, it depends on who is looking at it and who is answering the question. But what is more important, you are talking about economy. Economy, fine, is important. But I don't think there's anything we can do on Twitter, if we just look at it as social media, that we cannot do on certain other platforms. Besides that, it will have its own benefits too, if you look at it. Maybe now it could even give room to other platforms. Maybe it could even inspire a Nigerian to say, okay, what is Twitter doing that we cannot do? Because we have a lot of them too.
And you think this is not a target on social media in general? Think it's just a target on Twitter?
No, it's not a target on anything. Nigerian too has not said, no, the ban is indefinite. But then it does not mean they're not ready to talk to Twitter. Government is ready to talk to them. But then this has to be at terms. That was why I made, when I was starting this analysis, I made reference to the US, the home country of these platforms. All the CEOs have appeared before the Congress. They have. And Facebook has appeared 4 times. And even look at the time of COVID-19. That was what forced Mark Zuckerberg to now have a particular window for their CDC, so that if you want to get any information about COVID-19, because people went on social media to give all sorts of information, and government said, why, you are misleading the people? And Facebook could not say, it's not me, Mark Zuckerberg, that wrote it, or any of it's users, but it's your platform. You get my point? So when we are looking at everything, look at it, from all perspectives. Because if anything should go wrong with Nigeria today, maybe I can sit here, because although we pray that Nigeria gets more stable, more peaceful, more secure and everything, but I can sit here and talk to you. You can sit here and talk to me, because we have relative peace, relative stability. Do you think in Libya, in Syria, what will be more important to them now is the economy or their safety and security? Don't let us get to that point. Because if we are pushed into war, all these media platforms will be still be there doing their business elsewhere. So while we are thinking of economy, let's think of our stability, because it's only when the country is stable, when we are not at war, that we can think of going on Twitter to read anything, going on Instagram to post, going on Facebook to, So we should look at everything from all angles. Economy cannot, survive when there's no peace. Like this media house now, you can only do anything when there's peace. You get my point? So I can only come here. If you invite me and I just realize that it's not safe for me to come, I will say, excuse me, I cannot come. Okay, we should not say, okay, we do Skype? In a situation of war, I may say, I don't even want to go on any platform because I don't want my location known.
All right. Thank you so much, Laide.
Thank you very much.
An amazing one there with Laide. It's always a pleasure to have you in the studio. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, now we'll be heading straight to sports with Jidechi, who is already in the studio, but we'll do that after the short break. So stay with us.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Sabi cook the banga. Not gonna enter my family.
Hey,
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga eforiro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
Welcome back. This is still iBrand Daybreak. Now let's talk about what's been going down in the world of sports. Yes, yesterday we got to hear the story of Emmanuel Dennis, the Nigerian international, and it's interesting to see that the man is now coming to the English Premier League. Yes, English Premier League side Watford announced that Emmanuel Dennis would be joining them on a couple of months from now, a couple of days from now. He has agreed personal terms with the club. So has Club Brugge, that's his parent club. And you very well know how Emmanuel Dennis shone brightly right there in the UEFA Champions League a couple of seasons ago. Yes, why he played against Real Madrid did so well, and that's when he announced his name to the footballing world. He spent the better part of last season on loan at Cologne in Germany, but unfortunately for him, he didn't get as much playing time as he used to while he was at Club Brugge. But now Watford are saying we want the services of this man. We want the services of this 23-year-old man who has been able to score 27 goals in about 90 appearances for Club Brugge right there in Belgium. And it's interesting to see Watford, one of the newly promoted sides to the English Premier League for the next season, would be featuring for them. Yes, let's get to see how he will be doing. If he can surpass the likes of Isaac Success, if he can surpass the likes of Odion Igalo, who were also former Nigerians to have played for the English Premier League side, Watford. Now, let me move on and talk about Lionel Messi right there yesterday at the Copa America game between Argentina and Paraguay. Messi was able to equal Javier Mascherano's record of the most appearances for Argentina, currently standing on 125 appearances for Argentina. Messi will be looking to surpass Mascherano when Argentina takes on their opponents in their next Copa America game. And it's interesting to see he also marked that one with a win right there at the Copa America. Yes, Argentina started off the Copa America campaign with a draw against Chile and then went on to win 1-0 in their previous game. And last night, it was yet another 1-0 win for them. What a wonderful way to mark equaling the record of the big man Javier Mascherano. Hopefully Messi, international appearance 128 is coming his way when Argentina takes the pitch next time. Now let me move on and talk about the big man. Call him Usain Bolt. Yes, the fastest man in world history. That's according to the record he has gotten for himself right there at the Olympics. Yesterday he announced with his partner that they now have two twin boys. Yesterday they made that announcement that they have two twin boys right now. One called Thunder, the other called St. Leo. Something a lot of people have been actually asking, why is Usain naming his child Thunder? I guess it has to be with the fact that Usain is a lightning of himself once it takes to the court. He has the record for the most Olympic gold medals, say in sprint events, about 8 gold medals he got between the 2008 Beijing Olympics, the 2012 London Olympics, and the 2016 Rio Olympics. It's interesting to see that a man who had a daughter, Olympia, and now have two sons, both twin boys, and it would be interesting, a wonderful family of 5 right there for the Jamaican big man Usain Bolt. Good one for Usain Bolt and his family, and we can all say congratulations to him. There are still some other stories about Samson Siasia and co, but let's do that later on. Margaret, I think this is where you take off now.
Yeah, about the Thunder. Someone, social media is crazy. Someone said, what if he grows up and starts listening to Rikatani's Thunderfire music? Like, oh wow.
People can always be funny.
Like, how did they how did someone think and coin that kind of statement? Nigerians are.
But I think it's always nice to be creative when you want to name your children.
Thunder. Imagine you mean naming my child Lightning or Lightning even sounds.
One of his children actually called Lightning.
Yeah. Oh wow. Like Thunderbolt, Lightning Bolt. Oh wow. All right then. Okay, now back to social media buzz. We are almost wrapping up the show. If you just join in, you missed a lot. But nevertheless, later in the day, we'll have a repeat belt. And tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday is midweek. And we'll have an amazing time with you in the studio. 9 a.m. dots is the time. Please don't miss it. Now, social media. Kindest act from strangers had ever been done. Okay, what's the kindest thing a stranger had ever done to you or for you before? And a reaction saying, particular Afyong says, a couple who are my neighbors drove me to the hospital the day I was in labor and waited till I delivered my baby. Oh, the wife was with me in the labor room throughout. My husband wasn't around at that time. The day we were discharged from the hospital, they still came and took us home. They are like angels. God will continue to bless them. Isabel says, borrowed me 45K for extra baggage costs at the international airport without even knowing me or having my contact details. He dropped someone off. I wasn't traveling. My flight was about taking off. I was desperate and my bank network failed me. I paid back to his account before taking off. Wherever you are, thank you and God bless you. Jennifer says, I was going to Lagos for the first time and we arrived Lagos around 12 a.m. from Kaduna. I was scared. I didn't know how to locate Oniru Estate. One of the passengers noticed I was new to Lagos. He told me not to worry, that he would ensure my safety. He took me to my destination before going to Ikeja. Wow, that was 12 a.m. And Grace says, finally Grace says, someone on Facebook I've never met or chatted with before inboxed me on my birthday and asked me to send him my account number so that he can send me small things for my birthday cake. At first I felt it was scam, but I had to go through his profile. Last night I sent him my account number. I was shocked when when I got 5K. We are still friends till today. Well, Jidechi, that's a cool one.
Yeah, lots of things. I'm trying to think of something really nice a stranger have done for me. I can't really think of anything.
I can think of a lot of things. Meanwhile, about the lady at the airports, the luggage thing, I can relate. See, airports, oh my goodness, airports, one of the times I was even supposed to fly from Abuja, to Port Harcourt. I don't know what happened. My friend said he had paid, and then I got to the airport and they were saying, do you know how to pay another one? I now checked. Do you know, the lady didn't even confirm. He wasn't picking. I called and he was like, but I've paid. Now send it again. I told her, no, check it again.
And then you realized double.
I took my money. Excuse you. Some airport staff are very, sometimes I don't blame them. The crowd, everyone is on. So I can imagine when your bank is giving you issues, you have to pay for extra luggage. If not, the flights will leave you. Person would think that's actually a nice person. And about strangers doing a lot for me, I don't know because I'm a fine girl anyway, but then. But today you're a fine guy too. Why are ladies not after you?
It's not about ladies. When you talk about strangers doing,
it could be anybody. But more of guys don't do for me anyway. So I think because I'm a lady.
I think that's the reason one of those ladies that talked about being at the ATM. That kind of favor. Maybe because she's a fine girl.
Oh.
But then still doesn't negate the fact that you should help somebody if you feel the urge to.
Even at that, some people
you never know how.
Some people could be. I know a friend who told me we were moving from church down to where we're going to, and I was like, would you help pick people? And he said he would really love to, but the last time he did that, it was raining and he had to pull over for some people to enter the car, and then he had his camera in his back seat and his iPad or an Apple laptop. I can't remember, but it was an Apple product. And when the two guys behind alighted, and it was just one person in front, and when the lady alighted, he now had to remember that I had something. He just turned back, and lo and behold, the camera and the Apple product, it was an iPad or an Apple laptop, something was nowhere to be found. So that kind of person, he might want to help, but he said he would not because he doesn't know who he's even helping. So why people are helping you, please don't try to make persons helping you regret helping you. If there's a nice act to you, please always maintain the niceness and make sure the person does not regret that nice act. Jidechi, what's your last word for them?
I think, just like she said, if you're going to do something that would make another person not be helped by that person that helped you, you're the bad person in the situation. Try not to be the bad person. Let people remain the good people that they are. Because you also return such goodness.
All right. Thank you so much, Jidechi. You're just a motivational speaker. Do you think we should read our quotes today again? Because you've quoted...
Well, I think we still need the quote because I want to believe the quote is going to be bigger than what I said.
Okay, let's just do this then. The quote says by Dr. Henry Link, says, we generate fears while we sit. We overcome them by action. Take that
really
again.
Strong one.
We generate our fears while we sit, but we overcome our fears by standing and taking action. Now, that's me rephrasing what Dr. Henry Link said. So, rather than sit down and...
At this point, do we have to be standing from our seats?
let's just sit down. All right, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an amazing one today. Don't forget to follow our social media platforms. The repeat belt is later on today. We also have interesting segment. This live stream is not over. Please do not go anywhere. And of course, tomorrow 9 a.m. on the dot, we have another interesting one for you. My name is Margaret Opara.
And I am Jidechi Chidi Ezier.
Bye for now.
Bye.